Unmute. Here we go.
You got to start the video.
Where do I start video?
And you should be in. You're in.
Okay. Hi.
Hello.
Should have put some lipstick on for you.
Excuse me. Was that me?
Hang on, let me get my headphones on.
Also on mute here
I
myself.
like this. Hey.
Hello, hello, hello.
Who all is here? Hi,
Hi, Randy Thomas.
Robert
Hello,
Taylor.
Julia Gray.
Dave
Hello, hello.
Walsh. Why does your name say Robert Taylor?
He's got a pseudonym tonight.
I don't know why I say Robert Taylor. It makes no sense.
Oh, it's Dave Walsh.
Dave
I need to figure out why I say Robert Taylor. I have no idea why, but we will
That
figure that out.
hysterical. So, hi to everyone. I'm glad you guys are all checking in. We're starting on time this evening.
Hi, Randy. Hi, Jack.
Hi, Bobby Sheldon.
Yeah, that's me.
Shovita, our event director, is online. We have, okay, folks are filing
Natasha,
in.
chef guy.
Natasha, thank you. I saw your email today, Natasha. Hi, Yvonne, JD, Victor, Jerome, Laura, Juliet, Alish, is that Alish Higgins? Stephanie, Raj,
Hello, Chovita from Beyond.
Lonnie Schmidt, Jamie Dawson. We've got some other folks. Hey, Shovita checking in. All right, here we are. It's a Wednesday. It's time for the Wednesday VOMastery free webinar. Everyone's checking in and saying nice things in the chat. We have a great hour, could be an hour plus. We're going to go like we did last week, until it just feels like it's time to shut it down, because we have a jam-packed show for you. A show? It's a webinar. It's a really big shoe.
There you
Really
go.
big shoes.
You nailed it.
Jack. Okay. First, before we do anything else, I want to thank and acknowledge all of the sponsors who have been so fantastic with VOMastery. We're like 3 weeks away. I can't believe it. It's 3 weeks from Friday.
Wow.
Yikes.
Crazy. Hello.
So thank you to Hugh Edwards and Gravy for the Brain. We got to see Hugh as part of the J. Michael Collins Barcelona thing with Joe Cipriano. Joe, of course, is one of our master coaches. But sponsors, we are thanking Bob Merkel and Voice Zam, the better demo player. J. Michael Collins, who is handling the business of voiceover and e-learning and narration and showing us how we can make a lot of money, crap load of money in that. Conrad from Chaotica, the Chaotica Eyeball. Thank you for your sponsorship. The Sportsman's Lodge, who are so wonderfully accommodating us, and they're going to make our day there lots of fun. Dr. Voice, our friend Dr. Voice, his name is Jonathan. He has the Toluca Lake mailbox. So if you live in Toluca Lake and you need to have a mailbox, usually people, a lot of the celebrities do it in his store. And he imports and works with all of these herbalists, Chinese herbalists, and he is really all about the voice. And everyone coming to VOMastery will be getting a goodie bag from Dr. Voice with all kinds of soothing Chinese herbs and balms. And did you ever watch that Seinfeld?
No.
Who told you to put the balm on?
I'm sure I have.
Yeah,
I've seen
anyway.
them all.
Okay, so
Isn't he also in a James Bond movie, Dr. Voice?
Dr. Voice, I like that. Sennheiser Neumann, they provide us with all of our microphones. We're going to give away a Sennheiser 416 at VOMastery this year. We're also going to give away the TLM 103, which I think is a little more standard, some headphones and whatnot. I could not do this every week without my friends, Jack Daniel, Carson Beck, who is not on camera right now.
But he'll be in the camera in a second.
There he is. He's such a ham. He's in.
Okay, there we go.
Awesome. What a team. So thank you. Carson is actually going to join in later when Eliza Jane Schneider does Accents and Dialect. So that's going to be a blast. First up, we're going to talk to Dave Walsh, and then we will give you Kathleen Ronald, who's been a friend of mine and does these incredible seminars about clearing your way to success. I'm not the most organized person in the world. Can you tell that about me? Would you know that about me? Raise your hand if you think I'm organized.
Are you organized? I would say
would
you got
be.
look. You got us together. You're organized that way.
Okay, well, yeah, but
There you go.
Joe Vita does a lot of that work. So anyway, we're going to all get organized. Do you remember that
Oh, I like that.
sign from when we were
Taxi
little?
driver.
And it was like the D didn't fit on it or something.
It's a taxi driver.
In Taxi Driver, see that? This is why I keep Jack around,
The
because
rare trivia.
for
It's a
whatever
I love
rare
that trivia.
Thomas Bickle.
So Dave Walsh, a master coach, you are coming next week in person to Media City Sound.
Yes.
We're going to talk about what you're going to be coaching, and we're going to just have a short conversation. I know you've got somewhere you've got to get to, but I want you to talk about Las Vegas. You got back, you brought a couple home to Orange County who survived this shooting.
I did. Yes.
Tell the story and share whatever you want about that experience in just a couple of minutes, and then we'll talk about next week. But
Sure.
it just doesn't seem right to start today as though everything is normal when it's not. We'll talk about Tom Pinto and his daughter. So
Absolutely. And also Buzz Brainerd too. Buzz Brainerd was at the event. I don't know if you know this, but Cam had posted on Facebook. He was actually on the stage a half hour before the shooting. And because Cam's so connected in the country world and living in Nashville, that it made sense that he was at 91. So I haven't connected with Buzz about that yet. But this particular
Nick O'Mana's daughter was shot. Do you know that?
No, I
Okay,
didn't
right.
know that.
yes,
Yeah.
she
I think
was
she's
shot,
okay.
and she is. She was taken from there critically, but I believe she's going to be okay. There is a fund to help raise money to get her back.
Thank you for letting me know. I did not know that. In fact, Nikki and I were emailing 3 days ago, so I do need to reach back out to him. This story didn't happen as critically as Nikki's daughter did in Tom's story. But I was in Vegas at my mom's house for the weekend, as Randy knows, and happened to wake up completely at 2:30 in the morning, Monday morning. Had no idea what had happened, and I never wake up in the middle of the night. My phone was going off crazy. People were asking if I was okay, et cetera, not knowing what it was about. But I went on Facebook, and of course, we find half of our news online, and particularly in social media. And one of my best friends, his sister, and her boyfriend, she had posted that he had been shot and that they were in a hotel, and she wanted to speak to a nurse. I reached out to them, and they were holed up in a hotel that wasn't their own. They had to run from the Mandalay and ran.
Oh, they were staying at Mandalay?
They were staying up the street. I think they were staying at Flamingo, but they couldn't get to Flamingo. They ran down to some side street, as you would, because you're not thinking clearly. And they ended up at a travel lodge because Tropicana was completely closed off, those of you that know Las Vegas. And they were in the hotel, and the level of paranoia in their voices, particularly Chelsea's, the thought was, and I'd never spoken to someone in this kind of trauma before, was that she was afraid there would be explosions if she stepped out of the hotel. And I ended up calling down to the front desk to see about going to pick them up. And the guy at the front desk said, don't even think about coming here. He said, first of all, just know that they're safe, and please try to convince them that they need to stay in the building and and that they're in a safe space. Wow. So for the next 2 hours, I stayed on the phone with them because they had no link to the outside world at 3 o'clock in the morning. But the next morning I went to pick them up. Pardon me. They got back to their hotel, and Matt showed me where he had been shot in the leg, which was an entry and exit wound. Thank God. The paramedics actually came. It took them 2 hours to get to them, and basically told him that that if it had gone a half an inch deeper, it was pretty unbelievable. But for the two of them, I haven't talked about this yet. What was interesting was Matt thought that Chelsea had been shot. He had been shot, but he also thought that Chelsea had been. And he was dragging her off the field because he thought that all he needed to do was to get her off the field, and didn't think they were going to make it because people were literally being shot around them. That it was just happening. It was happening in real time, but it was happening so quickly. And just that level of, it could have been us. And now that we know Tom was affected, Nick was affected, Cam was affected, that one event just, I mean, it's amazing how the 2 degrees of separation really just affects all of us. And driving home with them was very, knowing that people had been through such a trauma. I didn't want them flying back. They had tickets to fly back. I didn't want to put them at McCarran Airport or putting them in a plane within a closed tube with closed doors, because you're still in shock. But it was the realization as time went on over the 4 hours of, did that happen? It happened. Did that really happen? It happened.
Right.
And just your mind trying to kind of wrap your head around it.
Yeah.
That, it was an experience where I experienced it tangentially, but with the people who went through it. And we've never, all of us have never experienced that kind of terrorism personally. I think this is the first time that all of us can collectively say we know people who were involved in a terrorist attack like this.
Yeah.
So
many were from Southern California, and we have so many friends in Las Vegas, big, the VO community is in Las Vegas. So there were Chad Letts, Chad was with us at dinner at the Station Summit, Randy, in June in Vegas. Chad had friends who I still haven't connected back with Chad. They couldn't find them, and I'm sure they have. Yeah.
But there were people like that, Chad, Destiny Ba, all of these people who we know very well. And Dave Cavassi and I have been chatting. Dave was on the air for 12 straight hours.
Right.
And we were supposed to work sometime this week, but Dave said, also he's just been, he's lived it for 72 hours. It's just been crazy. So, yeah.
Wow. Well, we're glad that you're back and that you are safe and sound and you got those kids back. And, it's going to take a long time for everyone to heal. And we can only pray for less hate, less madness and hate in the world.
I know. Absolutely.
So, and what we do here at VOMastery is we empower those who choose to live a creative life, because to me, there's nothing more important than living a creative life. Do we have to struggle a little more than people who are willing to just work a regular job and make that their lives for the security? Yeah, our struggle is different. Our struggle is constant. It's daily. And anytime you could be someone that can do auditions, get rejected, and undaunted, keep auditioning time after time, because we believe in ourselves, and it's hard when you work alone in a studio and you're in a vacuum. You don't always know, am I reading the right way? If your audition, if you're having a dry period and it just goes on and on, maybe you really need to look at, maybe I need to freshen my chops or do whatever. I think what you came up with, Dave, is absolutely brilliant, because it applies to any genre of voiceover. Right. I'd like for you to talk about what your masterclass will be. Sure.
Well, those of you that have worked with me, Randy knows about this, Jack has known about it, and several other people as well. It's a curriculum that I call the True Tell, which sounds very basic in just the name itself. And Randy actually called it sexy, which I love. It's basically what we talk about is speaking authentically. And we were talking about the need for more of the love in the world and that kind of support. Mm-hmm. And that really speaks to authenticity. It talks to who we are as people. And in this work, because we all work in so many isolated places in the country and in our home studios, it's very simple to not know what they're looking for in terms of the vendors, in terms of the buyers. Mm-hmm. And it's very easy for people to fall into an announcer type read. This particular curriculum for me started because of a vocal problem that I ended up with and developed, because I ended up creating a career very successfully, but with a voice that I thought was what buyers wanted. It was a voice that buyers wanted for a certain period of time, but then eventually the voice gave out because it couldn't sustain a particular sound, because I was trying to compete with the likes of Jim Tasker, the likes of Ben Patrick, but the likes of Reno Romano, the people, all of our friends who are incredibly successful. And I shared that stage with, but at some point my body said, yeah, that's not authentic. And it took me a period of time to work back to a working voice. And what I realized coming out the other side was that there is an ability to speak authentically, effortlessly, and connected in copy. And I found that that was kind of the through line for me as a coach. we all teach it, but then when you actually feel the difference in terms of how it feels to tell a true story, who is it I'm talking to? What is it I'm talking about? Which are standard questions. But legitimately, who is it I'm speaking to?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I telling them the story? And what is it about? That essence in and of itself, when you actually put yourself on the carpet and really look at those questions, we normally try to skip by it. We try to create a general read. Well, we can get by on this. I can get by on that. But thinking about the writer, thinking about the respect for the work and the written word itself, every nuance, every word on the page means something, and it's connecting fully and authentically to that, which comes through in the voice. I always say the voice is the mirror of the soul. The voice will rat you out in 2 seconds if you're speaking inauthentic. Jack knows all about this.
Yeah, I hear that.
It'll rat you out in 2 seconds.
Right.
You know, so the great thing about our masterclass that we'll be having is that this, as Randy said, works in every area of voiceover, be it promo, be it commercial, narration, imaging, affiliate, trailer, it doesn't matter your world. So what we want people to do when they come to the class is to bring your best, bring your A game, bring your F game, bring the F game that in that area that really is not working for you. Is that
right.
Where if you're really doing well in promo, trailer is failing, narration is mediocre. What is the thing that really is the Achilles heel, I call it? Every day when you step in that booth going, oh my God, it's another piece of industrial copy. Oh, it's another pharmaceutical ad, or it's whatever.
Yeah.
Those are the things that you're having trouble with because you can't seem to fit the square peg in the square hole.
Right.
Not working. So that's really, it's going to be a roll your sleeves up kind of event where we can really look at and people can learn in different formats from other people, that it really becomes that kind of a round table almost.
Cool.
Which I think is really going to be effective.
I think it's going to be amazing. I know there's only a couple of spots in your particular masterclass left. So if you're sitting on the fence about coming to VOMastery, now is the time to jump in because...
Can I say a word about Dave?
Sure.
I just want to say that I've worked with Dave extensively, and I have no doubt that he took me from wherever I was before that to someone who became much more marketable because he's all about connecting you with copy, breaking down copy and making it accessible to yourself so that it can actually be true to others. I highly recommend that you try to work with Dave. And if you're in the class, try to get into this class. It's going to be really worth your time.
Right.
Thank you, my friend. I think that what Jack has been able to do and what I try to teach too is it's not teaching the technique of voiceover. We all know how to execute a commercial, execute a promo. We know where to hit the words, the retail, to understand the housekeeping, the URLs, the time period, the network. We know how to do all that.
Right.
What is inside of the script? What is that story you're telling? We're not going to be teaching you how to execute the spot. It's about actually telling the story.
Yeah.
So
feet to the fire on this one. I like it.
Oh yeah.
I like it.
It's gonna be a little boot campish.
I like it.
Tough
All
luck.
right. Well, thank you so much. We're going to see you at Media City Sound with Joe Sipp next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. Perfect.
And yeah, so you'll figure out, do you want to work out of Studio A or do you want to work out of Studio B? Those are the two big
He wants to be
rooms.
wherever I'm not going to be. That's pretty much where he'll be.
We'll do that one. We'll be like, it'd be like choose
Whatever
a
that
door
would
and let's make a deal.
Excellent. Excellent.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for coming into the Zoom. We really appreciate it. And
You're welcome.
We'll see you soon, my love.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Good night
Bye,
now.
Dave.
See you,
Bye-bye.
Dave.
All right. So, great. That was super fun.
That is so exciting for next week, though. I mean, the fact that you were going to, can you talk about that a little bit now, or do you want to wait?
Well, because I
So
feel
cool.
like the folks that come into the Zoom are the people, you guys are ready for master classes. So if you are thinking about coming to VOMastery, the master class is the only way to go. We've got, Mark Cashman, J. Michael Collins, Debbie Derryberry, Kelly Doherty, if you're interested in doing radio imaging. She's Kelly from iHeart, Vice President of Imaging. Andrew Berger, who does Power 106. He's the imaging director there. He doesn't do any of the voicing. He just does the production. So we're going to get some scripts for you to audition with and have fun with. We've got Scott Carty, who is my friend, who is the entertainment reporter. He's working crazy hours and jumping in on all kinds of new shows. So
Funny guy.
Scott he's funny, he's happening. He makes the whole event day more fun for me because I'm such a neurotic mess. Joyce Castellanos teaching a master class. Alyssa Weinzimmer on vocal health. And in just a few minutes, we will talk to the amazing dialect and accent coach, better known as Eliza Jane Schneider. I always want to call her Eliza Doolittle, but I'm sure she's been called worse. So, all right, would you be so kind as to get Kathleen
You
for
betcha.
me and bring her into
I'll go to the green room. I'll be right back.
So we're going to interview Kathleen and talk about what she does. She's amazing. Oh, and she's right here.
Hi,
Yay.
guys. How's all the beautiful people? Hello, hello, hello. That's so much fun. I've not
Isn't that
seen
fun?
this before.
Yeah.
Kathleen, I must say, I love your haircut. I want to cut my hair now.
Who's this?
That's Jovita. She wants to cut her hair.
Thank you, Lovey.
So we have two, you can see we have 2 pages of people that are on the Zoom. And there you go. So this is kind of
So they can have either their photo or they can be live.
Yeah, and you don't have to show your face.
Like
you know.
Jamie's in the closet with a sheet.
That is probably Jamie's booth.
And
right?
it's not
You're sitting in the
ironed,
booth.
but I'll let it go this time, Jamie.
And so anyone in the Zoom, you guys are going to be able to read live with Eliza Jane. So get a great piece of copy. If you got anything recently with an audition for an accent, you may want to do that. But first, let's give 100% attention to my friend Kathleen Ronald. I met you because I went to my girlfriend's women's.
Oh yeah, Wine Women in Chocolate.
Wine Women in Chocolate.
Kathy Curry and Kathy Boehner.
That's right. And so I saw you give a presentation and I was hooked. It was like you tapped into me and you knew what all my dark secrets were and what my issues with clutter are. How did you know? And tell us where you came from and how this became your thing.
She's so adorable. I really didn't know. She gave it away when she said, "Oh my God, can I put you in my suitcase and get you back to Florida because I really need you."
Yeah. And then I had to pack up a house after 15 years of living with it and move to California.
Yeah.
So that's another story.
So anyway, I've been a business growth expert for 30 years. I've been a professional speaker for 30, business consultant for 25. So if you were to work with me, how many of you would like to double your business currently? Raise your hands. Hello. And how about double your business while cutting the hours in half? Is that attractive? Holler. Yeah. Okay. Jamie, are you interested in that or not?
Yeah.
Okay. We get a yes.
Shake.
So anyway, I got to train with Tony Robbins for 5 years and they call me a mind chiropractor. So a lot of my work is done here in the head. And my biggest topic is called Clutternomics, how to clear your way to profits, productivity, and peace. And so how many of you are currently dealing with clutter as we speak? How many of you have made a decision to come to VOMastery in Los Angeles in a few weeks?
I'm raising my hand.
Okay. That's magnificent. So if you wanted to clear something, for those of you that have chose at this time and you're not yet registered, then we would look at what prevents you from registering. Because there's possibly a story in your head, okay, we've got money, honey, right? So there's lots of things, but you really have to understand, if you ask the question, what prevents you from attending, you're going to come up with many bullet points, which I call your story, right? And so you say, well, I can't come because of this and this and this and this and this. So if I was your business consultant, we would really look at, is this time for you to even come to VOMastery? It may not be the best decision for you. For some of you, I might lead you to find a way or make a way, and we would look at these things that have you stuck, this story that has you stuck, which I call clutter, mental clutter. And then we would decide if we can create solutions. So everything has a sustainable solution. So if you want to start doubling your business, you must get hooked on what I call clutternomics. You must understand the economics of your clutter. Now, when you think of the words clutter, How many of you thought physical clutter? Raise your hands. Physical clutter. Who thought of anything else in the context of clutter? What else might be considered clutter? Yes, Victor? Is there a way to hear him or no?
Yeah, sorry, I had myself muted. I mean, I feel like I've dealt with that concept before in my own life. I've got a couple different freelance things going. So clutter just in terms of excuses, I guess, or having
now can everyone else hear him?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
they're all here.
Okay, so
We're just sharing
excuses,
one set of
yes.
headphones.
Yeah. Go ahead, Victor.
So like in my case, I'm a half voice actor, half musician. Like I unfortunately can't come this year because I've got a tour date. And like, so that's a solid, I can't do anything about that. I wouldn't call that an excuse.
Yes.
But for every one of those, there's a million things that I do to myself of like, oh no, they're just kind of, BS reasons.
Yes. So he's looking at, excuses, which then again is mental clutter. It's your story. It's what's your story? We all have a story, and we're all great writers and producers. And then we buy into the story, and then the story owns us, and then it becomes clutter, if you will. What other context of clutter would you think about besides physical clutter?
Anyone? Feel free to jump in.
Yes, of course. Mental clutter, right? The stories, the beliefs, there's emotional clutter. If any of you are still holding on to resentment, anger, unforgiveness, that's really a high cost of clutter, is emotional clutter. I would ask all of you to begin clearing that emotional clutter, because energetically, whatever you bring into the room, whatever you're feeling on any scale, conscious or subconscious, comes into the room with you. Now she has written something. What does that say?
Yvonne wrote,
how. One of the best, certainly in anything that you can grab or learn about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, Anthony Robbins is who I trained with. But one of the greatest people in the brain space, as far as I'm concerned, is Byron Katie. Have you guys heard of Byron Katie?
She's amazing.
She's a phenomenon. She has a phenomenal book called Who Would You Be Without Your Story? Who would you be without your story? And in the belief department, the brain department, I ask 4 questions because it's called the work. So anytime a belief pops up for me that doesn't resonate, doesn't support me, might be negative, whatever that is, I start looking at that belief and I ask 4 questions. Number 1, is that true? Now, certainly your egos could defend anything that you believe because you always get to be right. Is that true? Who would you be without that thought? What's the turnaround? Let's see. No. Is that true? How do you know it's true? Who would you be without that thought? And what's the turnaround? There's 4 questions. So you want to get back to neutral at all times. So you neutralize any emotion that's not serving you. Does that make sense, everybody?
I feel like it's cyclical. Like we have periods of time where everything is groovy, everything is good, and then something blows up, and then we all get
holler. I mean, life happens to all of us. There isn't anyone with a laundry list of stuff that they aren't dealing with, truly. But you have to be careful the story that you make up about what you're dealing with, right? So there's the mental clutter, there's body clutter. All of you in this industry, and like myself and Randy, or anybody that uses our voice, that is my instrument. I need to protect it. There's a lot of things that I clear in order to have this athletic instrument ready to go at any time I stand up or what I'm doing in my work, right? So you have to clear a lot of lifestyle habits in order to have this healthy vessel to do what you do, called not only VO, but everything else that you're doing. There's 2-legged clutter. People that you'd like to bless and release and let them prosper elsewhere. Raise your hand. Anybody on the 2-legged clutter? So there's all different types of clutter. And the first thing that I want you to focus on is your physical clutter. I'm a strategist. Everything I do, people come to me with their issues and challenges. It's my job to get a sustainable solution for you that's easy in effort based on your beliefs, values, and your budget. Now, with your physical clutter. If you want something new to come in, this is a must. And this is the law of the universe. And it works every single time without fail. If you want something new, you must open a space. The universe abhors a vacuum. How many of you have heard that before? Raise your hand. The universe abhors the vacuum. If you haven't heard of it, this is how it works. When your voicemail, excuse me, is full.
Do we have water for you? Can we get?
Yep.
Voicemail full. Can you get any more messages?
No.
No,
Gotta
right?
clear 'em.
So think about your physical clutter that you have right now. Think about your dining room, your living rooms, your garage. If some of you have basements, attics, your computers, your car. Think about, yes, if every cupboard is full, if every drawer is full, if everything is packed, this is the conversation you've had with the universe. I need nothing. I need nothing. I have everything I need. So unless you signal and start opening a drawer and getting rid of stuff, I mean, like, bye-bye. You literally have to exit stage left. It's got to walk out the front door, and it's got to get out of the car. It's got to go somewhere. I gift everything and use it as a write-off. But many of you that are very adaptable, you can sell online. But if you want to double your business, even 20%, all you have to do is start getting rid of stuff.
Give away 20% of your stuff and you'll get 20% coming
Well,
in.
you know, I tell you, listen, how many of you wear 20% of your wardrobe? Raise your hand.
All of us, I think, right?
20% of your wardrobe, right? Do you have things in your life just in case?
Always.
Just in case.
Always.
Just in case. Just in case.
Must.
All that just in case, you got to find out what the healing opportunity is. Why do you have just in case? Because you literally, when you have something in a place, it's withholding your abundance. So you have to open it up to get. Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So Eleanor is my dear friend. Where is Eleanor? We've worked together. She's not right up front, but she's saying she's lived in a very physically empty space for many years now. She's got a lot going on in her life. And I feel like you're saying you don't have enough, that you're just.
Eleanor, do you like
alone.
living in motel status? I think it's magnificent.
She likes that, less stuff. So, but that's just one example.
Mhm.
So I have a lot.
My
because
brain
I
is cluttery.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah, the power of intention goes a long way in this business.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So basically, you know,
so
and you've
how do you do
experienced
this for
it.
people? You do this in teleclasses, you do this
Yes.
at events, you
So
speak
I
all
do
over
it
the
as a
country.
keynote speaker. I have a 3-week teleclass called Clutternomics, How to Clear Your Way to Profits, Productivity, and Peace. It's 4.5 hours of training. It's on the phone. I'm in session right now, so my next session will be booking in January. So if you're interested in that, you can absolutely join me. Certainly, Randy has had the experience of clearing. It's an emotional game, everybody. And everything that you own has a story. Everything has a story, and you wrote the story.
Yeah.
You're the only one who can release yourself from the story. And if you want to live in real ease, you must get good at releasing. Right? That's the key.
It's just the act of letting go, not trying to hold on to things
Right.
so tight. You know, sometimes we want success so badly, we hold on so tightly, hoping that we're going to have it. And it seems counterintuitive that if I just let go, I'm trying to pull the business in. If I can just let go,
Yeah.
it might find its way to
Right.
me without me trying so hard.
Yeah, you want to clear your mind and clear your heart and clear your space and just let it flow in. It will happen.
Let it go, let
Yeah.
it flow.
And we only have a few minutes, but there's a great book if you guys want to look at this. It's called Clearing Your Clutter with Feng Shui.
Love it.
Clearing Your Clutter with Feng Shui. It's by Karen Kingston. Karen with a K, Kingston with a K. Free yourself from physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual clutter forever. Now, what she doesn't realize is my book, Clutternomics, is coming out. So I have been promoting her book for like 25 years.
Oh.
You can tell I'm clearing a few stories myself
This
about
is
being a writer.
Little
So,
dog-eared.
Yeah, this is literally 25 years old.
Wow.
But it changed my life. So you literally can open up to anything if you start clearing. And there's no reason that you can't have an influx in your business. Just start clearing and fully expect something to come in. It's so much fun. You may want to spend 8 hours a day clearing, but I suggest an hour a week to get started, because you'll do anything to avoid pain and anything to gain pleasure. Some of you have been thinking about clearing for a year, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hello.
Right, right.
So let's get going.
Thank you so much. And I see we have Eliza Jane Schneider in the Zoom. This beautiful woman is our accent dialect coach. And I was watching her eyes. I was trying to see when you were talking about clutter, like, is she relating? Is she super organized, or is she a clutter person? So Eliza, I'm going to let you jump in and tell us where you stand in the world of clutter. Let me unmute you and let's see if we can hear you. Unmute here. Hello.
I'll never tell.
That's a yes.
Oh, but say it in an accent. Come on.
Oh, that was an accent. That's my American accent. I'm from South Africa.
Are you truly?
No.
You're Canadian. She lies.
That's good though.
No, I'm from all over Earth, but mostly American places on Earth.
Nice.
But what
actually
accent
have a
would you
young
like me to talk in? Do you want me to talk in my fake Scottish accent that we use for How to Train Your Dragon and
Oh my
Brigadoon?
When I was in Scotland, all I did was nod my head at the gentlemen, and the more they drank, the thicker their accent got, and I couldn't understand anything they said.
Yeah, real Glaswegian and real Orkney is incomprehensible for most of the rest of the English speaking world.
I am enthralled. Okay, so
I just have one closing thought.
please.
Would you guys consider yourself entrepreneurial? Raise your hand. Creative? Raise your hand. Any ADD in the group? Raise their hand. Undiagnosed? Raise your hand. Typically, we are wired for clutter. We're like Tasmanian devils. We can create mess. The more creative, the more entrepreneurial, the more you're dipped into the ADD or the ADHD and you're not on your medication. Please be gentle with yourself. Remove any judgment. You're just wired differently. That's all. It took me 8 years to get to maintenance, people. 8 years.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let you in on a tip. Ask 2 questions. Do I love it? And I'm currently using it. Do I love it? And am I currently using it? If it gets a no, let it go.
Whew,
just start clearing.
one.
Those are 2 easy little questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You so much, Kathleen Ronald.
Yay. See?
So give yourself a hand.
I love it. I love it. Thanks, everybody.
That's so cute.
Touch base with me.
Thank you.
All the
And
best.
I'll put the information out for you guys to see.
Yeah.
We'll do a follow-up email
Look.
so that you can
Get the money, honeys. Let's go.
how do
Clear
they
out
find
the
you?
stuff.
How do they find you online, Kathleen?
Look at this. Whoa. See this? This is a lot of money.
Honey.
All you have to do is start clearing something, people. That's it. So you can find me at Kathleen with a K at Speaktacular, SPEAK, Speaktacular, TACULAR.com, Speaktacular.com. Send me an email. Let me know what you're up to. Send me before and afters. Let's get involved.
Thank you.
So exciting. Thank you.
I'll definitely be
Bye, you guys. Rock and
digging
roll
back in.
VO.
All right. Rock and roll. We love you. All right. So, Eliza Jane, I'm so excited you are coming to VOMastery as a master coach, where the master classes are starting to sell out, which is so exciting.
Yeah, that's cool. I can't wait. Usually I teach online. In fact, I see some of my students here now. Hi, Sloan.
Oh, that's great. I'm so excited. So, Eliza, first of all, I didn't know that you live here in California.
I don't live in California currently. I live under a redwood tree in an undisclosed location outside of Portland.
Okay, got it, got it. So you are on the West Coast. That's all I need to know.
Yes, yes. But I'm in LA probably every couple weeks.
Yeah, good, good. I was just wondering why we hadn't gotten together for coffee. But now
I've got a Nickelodeon thing next week, so maybe we can get together before VOMastery.
I would love that. That's great. Are you here on Tuesday? I mean, next Wednesday, rather?
I'm not sure I gotta ask my assistant.
Okay.
He's probably here too.
So next week we're going to walk through Media City Sound where all the master classes will take place.
Oh,
So
fun.
if you're in town, you can pop in there so you can see the studio. And if you're not in town, you can watch it on the Zoom because we're going to show you exactly what the studios look like
Okay.
and how that's going to work.
And the weekend of VOMastery, we've got to plan our little dialect party.
I
We've
know.
been having them all over the country, actually, just in the last couple of weeks, the fall quarter of my online classes at dialectmasterclass.com. They are, the students are all getting together in their own neighborhoods and going to Irish pubs and speaking in their Irish accents or whatever. It's really fun. We're having a lot of fun with it.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Because I don't do this work, Eliza, I want to sort of take myself out, and Carson Beck, who is actually, he is going to be coaching some of our youth. We've got some young kids that will be between 13 and 18 coming through to VOMastery. And he actually just did my daughter's demo a week ago. She got signed to an agent a week ago. He did a commercial demo for her.
That's great. Congratulations.
He's a USC grad and is amazingly talented, and he just eats up everything you're doing. So I'm going to let him jump into the Zoom with you, read a piece of copy with you, and whoever is going to volunteer, if you say your name in the Zoom, maybe Shovita can make sure. Here you go. You can have the headphones. Shovita will make sure that everyone gets called on.
So Randy, did you want me to sort of delineate my method for people, or do you want to just jump into something else?
I missed that question.
Repeat that question, please.
Did you want me to delineate my method for people? Do you want me to kind of go through the basic points of dialects and accents and how we do it?
However you want to get going. You want to give your message, talk a few minutes, and then jump in?
Whatever works best.
I'm not even sure what I'm jumping into. All I knew I was going to be a guest on your podcast. It sounds like you've got a...
We're just going to have our way with you is what's happening.
That sounds like fun. That sounds like a good plan.
Well, hi, nice to meet you. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
Tell me your name is Carson?
Carson, yes. I know it says my name is Randy Thomas. That's not true.
You know, that happens with my
Randy
assistants too. They all pose as
That is
me.
an epic beard, JD. I'm impressed. Okay, so I guess we're doing some dialect stuff. If you want to talk a little bit generally about what you do, I would love to hear that. I'm sure.
Sure. I'm going to put in the chat right now. I'm going to put this free webinar that I teach. It's running right now this week, and some of the people here have taken it, and it's a lot of fun. It's about 90 minutes of me going into detail about my method. But I have a 3-pronged method that I just presented actually in Singapore at the Voice and Speech Teachers Association conference for international voice teachers. And of course, I expected them all to be these very stuffy academics with long gray beards and, you know, giving lectures to 2 or 3 guys who are asleep in a classroom, you know, about some great vowel shift phoneme that happened 200 years ago. And it wasn't like that at all, actually. It was a very vibrant community. There were voice teachers teaching everything from Tibetan throat singing to Balinese monkey chanting. And, you know, I learned the ins and outs of Chinese opera and why it sounds like mosquitoes, because it's actually just like a slowed down version of the Mandarin tonal system.
I just learned so much in the last like 30 seconds. So
I know, right? So I just had so much fun. But the coolest thing about it was there was a brain science guy there from the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art who explained to me why my looping method that I use with my dialect students works so well. He says, you know, there's brain science behind it. There's a reason why it works. And I was like, oh, thank God. Thank God. There's some scientific research behind what I do. Thank God. No, but so what we do is in my classes, we do this 3-prong method, and it's auditory, visual, and kinesthetic, but it starts with the auditory. I don't know if you've ever like gotten a bunch of tapes on dialects before and you see all these sound substitutions and you get sort of a dry academic guy saying, oh, long, yes. Fawn, hall. You know, and then like by the time you're on track 3, you're like snoring in your car and you've missed your audition. And so what brain science man told me is that, you get into, there's the narrative part of the brain and there's the experiential part of the brain. And, when you get into analyzing sound substitutions right off the bat before you've had a chance to jump in and play with your copy, you get into your narrative brain. And the brain science lately says that they are mutually exclusive. One side necessarily turns off. That experiential actor's mind that we get into turns off when the analytical mind comes in. So that he came up to me and explained this to me after I demonstrated this method using a voice teacher, a dialect coach actually from Australia came up, and I wanted to teach her in minutes what I teach my students, a Nigerian accent. And this is something that these other teachers in the room spend 6 months teaching their students, And, the first pass, for those of you who are my students, she took a springboard of a Nigerian girl, and her first pass, she didn't do it right. And then I told her to stop thinking about what the woman was saying and just hear the sounds and mimic sounds. And by the second pass, she had nailed it. And I was like, see, 75% of my work is done now. I don't have to teach. And it's like, okay.
So the gist is you're really, really good, right?
Oh, yeah. That's
Cool.
that's my point.
Right. No, that's fascinating. I absolutely adore dialect, and I wanted to hop on with you here and sort of take over this because I have a sketch comedy podcast that does requires a lot of impersonation of real world people. And as one of the only people working on the podcast who does voice work full time, they sort of just, well, Carson will figure it out. So in the last couple of weeks, I've had to do Elon Musk, and I've had to work on my Russian to do Putin for some very topical things.
Putin specifically.
Yeah, those. So all of those sorts of dialect things in general are super fascinating to me.
Yeah.
So maybe we could find something quickly to go over. I don't know what sounds most interesting to you right now, but I'd sort of just like to, we can play this like a demo for everybody, and you can, beat me up and
sure. One of the things that I make sure that all my students do is glom onto a native speaker or 3 per region, so that they have, we call them springboards, but basically, how like you have commercial jingles from the 70s stuck in your head, or maybe not you probably have them from the 80s. There are all kinds of things that get stuck auditorially in our heads that we didn't ask for. So this is a way of putting something in there that you want there on purpose and that you can reference and use. So, for example, with Russian, if you were in my class, you would have 3 springboards from different areas of Russia to choose from that you would play back in your head before you go ahead and jump into the Russian. But that said, I can certainly grab you a springboard or 2 to play with before you jump into your Russian. In fact, I think on the class website, we even have Putin himself, if you want it.
Yeah, he was hard to track down. And whenever he speaks, it's with a translator and he's speaking Russian. And the bit where he does speak English, it's like in an interview where there's voiceover kind of covering it up. So there's not much content out there, but if you have some
Let's see what I got. I seem to remember somebody. Now, one of the things my students, some of them are very talented at finding native speaker springboards. I've spent the last 25 years traveling around the world recording people's dialects all over the place. And that's why I was so excited to go to Singapore, because Singapore marks the final country in the English-speaking world where English is the first language that I had yet to record people in.
Wow.
But when it comes to foreign accent, I have a lot of Siberia. Let's see, Moscow. Putin, ha ha, got him. All right, let's see.
All of us, we need preparation. Some areas we said about during our talks.
That is a terrible recording of Putin.
Right, I think I heard the same one. It's just like they're outside.
Yeah, in a newscast in the rain.
Yep, and he's mumbling, and it's not great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have to do Russian. I guess I can do, let's say, whatever accent you're most stoked on right now, I can just pull up like some commercial copy and I'll give it my best shot in that dialect and you can just beat me up about it. Does that work for you, or do you?
But that's not how I work. It's almost how I work.
That's okay. So let's get into how you work.
What I would prefer is that I play you a native speaker sample.
Mm-hmm.
We run a springboard looping practice really quick, which will take like 3 minutes. And then you jump from that into your commercial copy. And then I beat you up.
Okay.
Does that work for you?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to give my people a little more preparation. Think of it like you're a gladiator and I'm giving you like a helmet and a sword as opposed to just nothing.
That's convenient. I am a gladiator.
Excellent. Excellent. So let's see. I mean, Russian is fine, but let's grab something that's not Putin. How about?
Sure.
Let's grab, I actually really like this woman from Moscow. She has a very interesting accent though. And there's a St. Petersburg one that I like a lot. Let's see, St. Petersburg. Yeah, let's listen to this elderly woman from St. Petersburg.
I was born in St. Petersburg, Russia, and live all my time until 57 in Petersburg. I am graduate university and work in some factory like engineer 20 years.
All right, was that, could you hear that at all?
I heard it somewhat. Do you have a link to that sample, or is that like behind your register for your website or whatever?
Like it's playing on my computer speakers, so it's hard for you to grab it.
Do you have like a link? Is that like a YouTube video or something that we could post in the chat so that I can reference it?
No, it's on my site, my competitive edge voice training site, but. Okay. What do I have that is? I do have one. I do have several actually that are that. Let me just find them really quick. And do you have any questions like for me while I'm looking for these?
Let me see. Does anybody else have any specific questions after she gave her rundown of everything? I want to give everybody a chance to talk if they got anything. Feel free to jump in. Then I'll ask.
Read me the questions because I'm looking for the sample real quick.
Yeah, no problem. We have a question from Valentina about how to reduce her Latin American accent. So I guess we could talk generally about if you have an accent or a dialect from a place that you're from, how to get rid of that accent or steps you can take to minimize that accent.
So the method that we use for this learning a new accent, some of my other students actually who are in attendance here can tell you it's the exact same method I would use to teach someone who is a speaker of English as a second language, the American or the British standard accent. It's basically the same 3 steps. You get a sample of a native speaker, you run this sort of springboard method that I was going to show you, and then you, if I can find that in my safety nets, and then you begin to adapt your voice to that voice in a very organic kind of way, and then after that is when you break down. There are 16 vowels in General American English. And I have actually a map of the mouth that I like to use with people that shows you where your tongue position is for each of these. What is that sound?
Somebody's playing music or watching a video.
Oh, is somebody unmuted?
Coming through.
I think I found it. It was Stephanie.
Haha, Stephanie. Yeah, so it's the same method. So you get a native sample, you listen, you repeat it a bunch of times. I was going to show you my springboard looping method. Is it possible for me to share my screen?
Oh.
Yes, it is.
It was somebody. Sorry, Stephanie. I'm not placing the blame. I was trying to track down whoever was unmuted. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's all right. I'm actually, I'm going to grab a file here. Bear with me for a second. I'm going to open a new track in my GarageBand software and new track, edit, open, recent. Okay. Yeah, but what I was saying about the learning the American accent is really, you want to approach it the same way you approach learning any other accent. And I think what happens to people who have been told their whole lives that they can't do that accent or they can't speak with an American accent, it gets into that wrong part of your brain, that narrative part where you're telling yourself a story, and it precludes you from being able to do what babies do and just imitate sounds as such. Mm-hmm. You know, So what I like to do with people for whom English is a second language is teach them a totally random accent, like, you know, Scottish or Russian. And then once they have that skill set of how to acquire a different sound, move into General American and learn it the same way. I like to do this thing Robert Easton and I used to call half-fast respelling, where I would, and we spelled it HALF-FAST, half-fast respelling.
Gotcha.
So what it is you sort of trick your student into speaking with a different accent, because we all have the same muscles in our mouth. We all have the same potential and the same possibilities to make the same kinds of sounds. And you'll find with a lot of these accents, especially in this class, we get to sort of bounce back and forth between American, Southern, and Australian. And we find that the mouth positions and tongue positions for some of them are very similar, or they're reversed. Like, for example, the O sound in Australian that a lot of people have trouble with, that I, you hear that same kind of thing. No. You hear that same kind of thing in South Carolina. No, but it's just slightly different. But the tongue position is the same, but the lip rounding is different. So we sort of get in there and we can identify different mouth positions and tongue positions. So, oh, you get her, Steve. She's talking about you. That oh no. That O sound is very similar to the I sound in Australian. It's just the I, you have your lips are smiling, and then the O, they're rounded at the end, right? So let me find.
So I have a quick question while you're looking for that. And a lot of times when learning an accent, specifically for a character, I find that, like, once you get into the accent, it's difficult. You have these cadences that are sometimes typical of an accent, but then sort of getting away from those cadences to start accessing the real character, as they, they wouldn't, the character may not necessarily speak in the way that is typical when you think of it's like, not every Russian person starts their sentences way up here, So how do you get away from the stereotypes of that sound that are pretty typical when you're first learning a dialect?
Well, that's why I start with native speakers when you're first learning. Like, you'll notice, I'm actually going to go ahead and share my screen right now. Let's see, so I can show you what I'm talking about. Share screen. Is it going to let me? Is it going to let me? I believe it is. All right, you're going to get my whole desktop for a second here. So,
it's all I've ever wanted.
It's so funny. Today's my anniversary, and I was sharing my screen with my class I think it was yesterday. I had make love to my husband on my calendar for today because it's our anniversary.
Well,
it looks like it's the only day of the year, and I have to pencil in it. And I didn't even notice that was on the calendar because these alerts kept coming up in the middle of class. So hopefully that won't happen, but if it does, you know why it says that.
Right.
So this is this class website, and what we have here, it's called a safety net. And what it is I teach people to go ahead and loop a native speaker sample before they jump into improvising, for example. So pick one. What would you like?
What we're talking about.
We got
French. Irish. I had to do Irish when I was a wee lad for a play, and I've been fascinated with it ever since.
Okay, so this is Southwestern Ireland, and this answers the question you just had about how do you avoid doing something stereotypical. Most people, when they hear this accent, they think it sounds Scottish, because in Southwestern Ireland, in the old Gaelic version, which is what this guy's doing, they tap their R's. Okay? So listen.
You know that you were able to face the world and shall I say is a girl with pluck and courage. You know that you were able to face the world and stand up and talk and shall I say is a girl with pluck and courage.
So what he's saying is Eliza is a girl with pluck and courage. And the reason he's saying
that, he's speaking English.
Yeah. Eliza is a girl with pluck and courage, is what he's saying. Pluck. So this, you heard that exact same thing 3 times, and then what I do is I loop a little sample like that 14 times, and then I'll mute numbers 4, 6, 8, and 10, and then in the interim, in between, you repeat, you listen, you repeat, you listen, you repeat, you listen, the same thing, right?
Right.
And then by the time you're done with that, your mouth is in that sort of vocal posture, and you can sort of lean into your copy in that same way. And then you only have a few little sound corrections left, if that makes sense.
Oh, I like that approach. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So it kind of takes you out of, oh, am I missing something? And it just takes you out of your judgmental head. So let's all try that. Everybody mute yourselves except Randy Thomas, who would be Calvin. Carson. Yeah. Well, I can't. I mean, it's spelled, Carson here today is spelled as Randy.
Yep.
Okay. And then so just as soon as you can get a sense of what he's saying, start to repeat it. And you don't have to know the words, you just have to try to repeat the sounds, okay? It's going to happen 14 times. So by the last 3, you should be able to kind of get in there, at least in the right amount of time. Okay?
Shall I say is again with pluck and courage? You know that? You were able to face the world and stand up and talk tomorrow. Shall I say is again with pluck and courage? You know that? You were able to face the world and stand up and talk tomorrow. Shall I say is again with pluck and courage? You know that? You were able to face the world and stand up and talk tomorrow.
Do you hear what he's saying?
I got like half of it.
Okay.
What's the last little bit?
You are able to face the world and stand up and talk tomorrow.
Talk tomorrow?
I'm not sure exactly what he's saying at the end, but I know what it sounds like, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what he's saying. It only matters what it sounds like, right?
Yeah.
So it's good. In fact, sometimes I ask people to just work with native speakers' native tongue, so that they're just copying sounds. They're not worrying about what he's saying, okay? So just do the first half of it.
Okay.
Eliza is a girl with pluck and courage. All right? So, and do it in the gaps, and then do it along with him for the last 3. And everybody do this at home as well. This would be one of those gaps. Here, I'll start it again from the beginning.
Shall I say is again with pluck and courage? You know that? You were able to face the world and stand up and talk tomorrow. Shall I say is again with pluck and courage? You know that? You were able to face the world and stand up and talk tomorrow. Shall I say is again with pluck and courage? You know that? You were able to face the world and stand up and talk tomorrow.
Just start. Eliza is a girl with pluck and courage.
Eliza is a girl with pluck and courage. You know that?
You know that?
Eliza is a girl with pluck and courage. You know that? You were able to face the world, stand up and talk tomorrow.
Talk tomorrow.
Start the world with a taft and barlin. Something taft and barlin. Top of the morning. Eliza is a girl with pluck and courage. You know that?
You were able to face
the world,
stand up and talk
and
tomorrow.
out the top and barlin.
Nice. Eliza is a girl with pluck and courage. Do you know that? You were able to stand up.
Eliza is a girl with pluck and courage. You know that? You were able to face the world and stand up and talk tomorrow.
Eliza is a girl with pluck and courage. You know that? Able to stand up and face the world. Face the world.
Is a girl with pluck and courage. You know that? You were able to face the world and stand up and talk tomorrow. Eliza is a girl with pluck and courage. You know that? You were able to face the world and stand up and talk tomorrow. Eliza is a girl with pluck and courage. You know that? You were able to face the world and stand up and talk tomorrow. Eliza is a girl with pluck and courage.
So this one is put together slightly differently. Go for it.
Eliza is a girl with pluck and courage. Did you know that? They will face the world and stand up with tuck and barlin.
Nice, very nice. So the one thing that you come away with is the music behind it, right? Right? So you can then add that to your copy. So whatever you have there. So you can grab the springboard, practice it in your head, and then jump right into your copy. And you'll be 75% ahead of the game as far as like trying to worry about the sounds.
Because so much of it is the musicality of it.
Right?
Great.
Yeah, so let's hear your copy now.
All right. Once you're on the floor, don't stop till you're on the ceiling. Coors Light. Whatever your mountain, climb on.
That was great. That was great. I wouldn't change a thing. I mean,
terrific.
If I were your dialect coach on the film there, the shoot that you were doing, the commercial, I would have lots of explanations for why you had a few different Irish sounds, and you were a traveler and you spent some time in southwestern Ireland, and then you went to Dublin for a while for college, and but that's the beauty of this. There's so many permutations.
And it changed within the country. From what I understand, if somebody says, I do a London accent, okay, well, which part of London? It's like in half a mile radius, there's like 14 different dialect variations.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's try the same thing with the different one. Let's do, I'll grab a completely different springboard for you. And do you have the ability to unmute the other people here?
Yes, I do.
So, I mean, somebody else could try it too. But let's just put you in the Bronx for fun.
Okay, so we'll do the Bronx, then we'll do one more with somebody in the crowd. If somebody wants to leave in the chat, if they want to step up.
Okay.
If somebody in the chat wants to say that they want to volunteer for it, so we'll do one more with me, and then we'll give the next one entirely to.
What would you like? Australian?
I'm down for Bronx or Australian. I struggle with Australian, so.
You want to try Australian? Let's try it.
Let's give it a shot.
Okay. So just don't think.
I grew up in Brisbane in southeast Queensland. I lived in the same house with my family most of my life. Okay, I grew up in Brisbane in southeast Queensland. I lived in the same house with my family most of my life. Okay, I grew up in Brisbane in southeast Queensland. I lived in the same house with my family most of my life.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to remember the copy.
I grew up in Brisbane in southeast Queensland.
I grew up in Brisbane in southeast Queensland.
I grew up in Brisbane in southeast Queensland. I lived in the same house.
Lived in the same house.
Go ahead.
Lived in the same house most of my life.
Good.
I gotta like have this written in front of me. My memory.
Okay,
you don't want it written.
Brisbane in southeast Queensland. I lived in the same house with my family most of my life.
Most of my life.
Yeah,
I grew up in Brisbane, southeast Queensland. Lived in the same house growing up. Whatever else he said.
I grew up in Brisbane in southeast Queensland. I lived in the same house with my family most of my life.
What's that last part he says? With my family?
Most of my life.
Most of my life. Okay.
Yeah.
Grew
so
up
go and do it with him this next time.
Okay. I grew up in Brisbane in southeast Queensland. I lived in the same house with my family most of my life. Okay. I grew up in Brisbane in southeast Queensland. I lived in the same house with my family most of my life.
Most of my life.
I grew up in Brisbane in southeast Queensland. I lived in the same house with my family most of my life.
Now you try it.
I grew up in Brisbane, southeast Queensland. I grew up in the same house with my family most of my life.
Great. So you have the basic vocal posture now, and now I can tweak you a little bit. So grew up. So their ooh sound. It's the same as our E sound.
Grew up.
Say E, but round your lips. E.
E.
I grew up.
Grew up. Grew up.
So grew up.
I grew up.
I grew up in Brisbane.
Brisbane.
South is going to be south.
South.
Southeast.
Southeast.
Yeah. Queensland.
Yeah.
I lived in one house.
With
my family. Most. That's that O sound again. Yeah. So that's that. I like to spell that out as as in fuck plus E as in tweak. So E.
Most.
That's it.
Yeah, most. Yeah.
Most of my life, and my life has round lips. My life.
Yeah. Most of my life.
Really nice.
Yeah.
So repeat the whole thing one more time. I grew up in Brisbane.
In southeast Queensland.
I lived in one house.
I lived in one house.
With my family.
With my family.
Most of my life.
Most of my life.
And now you go into your copy.
Once you're on the floor, don't stop till you're on the ceiling. Coors Light with double O's. Coors Light. Whatever your mountain, climb on.
It's very close. That was a nice twinge. That would be perfect for audiobooks.
All right. That's good news. I do some audiobooks.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, I mean, that's just step one.
Yeah.
You know,
No, I love that approach of being able to reference somebody who actually is speaking that way.
Right. Right. And then what we do with the more advanced students who've repeated the courses, they get 3 springboards for each region. So they can kind of mix and match and play with the sounds. But you notice Coors Light has that same vocal posture as most of my life. Right?
Coors Light.
So your brain just automatically starts matching sounds and matching vocal posture. Yeah.
All right, so let's do one more of these with somebody from the crowd, and whoever has stepped, any volunteers? Shafita is looking for volunteers. Tall order, but I'll try Jamie.
Oh, Brave. Jamie, we love Jamie.
All right, Jamie, welcome to the party.
Hi.
Join in on the fun here.
Yeah.
Jamie Dawson is joining us from 1957, where it's still black and white.
That's right. That's why we like it.
That's the way we like it.
That's why we like it.
That's why we like it. Yeah, there we go.
So, where would you like to go, Jamie?
Oh, gosh. Let's do the Bronx.
Let's do the Bronx, shall we? All right, now I think this is a female, but let's hear it. And just for fun, I will also give you a transcript.
I work in Cafe Margarita, my father's restaurant. My name is Josephine DeFuccia. I'm 16 years old. I work in Cafe Margarita, my father's restaurant. My name is Josephine DeFuccia. I'm 16 years old. I work in Cafe Margarita, my father's restaurant.
So you repeat, my name is Josephine DeFuccia. I'm 16 years old. I work in Cafe Margarita, my father's restaurant.
Sounds just like you, Jamie.
Yeah.
Years old. I work in Cafe Margarita, my father's restaurant.
Go.
Let's play it again.
Yeah, I'm going to. It's going to happen.
My name is
I'm 16 years old. I work in Cafe Margarita, my father's restaurant.
Go. My name is Josephine DeFuccia. I'm 16 years old.
My name is...
Go ahead.
My name is Josephine DeFuccia.
Do it with her.
I'm 16 years old. I work in Cafe
Margarita, my father's restaurant.
Do it with her again after this pause when she comes back.
My name is Josephine DeFuccia. I'm 16 years old.
She's so fast.
Margarita, my father's restaurant.
See, we have something for that. I'm glad you brought that up. We have the Amazing Slow Downer. Have you ever heard of it?
No. Tell me more.
The Amazing Slow Downer is a program that you can download from the internet. You can load your little springboard into it, and it stretches the time without stretching the pitch, right? Without making it lower pitch. Yeah. So then it'll be, my name is Josephine DeFuccia. I'm 16 years old. I live in I work at Cafe Margarita, my father's restaurant. So try that. I'm just pretending we put it through the Amazing Slow Downer.
You practically hear the chewing gum in that accent.
I know. And I went a little Jewish on you for a second. So just repeat after me. My name is Josephine DeFuccia.
My name is Josephine DeFuccia.
I'm 16 years old.
I'm 16 years old.
I work in Cafe Margarita, my father's restaurant.
I work in Cafe Margarita, my father's restaurant.
And I was born in the neighborhood on Arthur Avenue.
And I was born in the neighborhood on Arthur Avenue.
Arthur Avenue.
Arthur Avenue.
Arthur Avenue.
Arthur Avenue.
And put a little liquid U in there. New. Arthur Avenue.
Arthur Avenue.
Yeah. The Bronx, Little Italy, 187th Street.
The Bronx, Little Italy, 187th Street.
Great. And then you can jump into your copy. Okay. Right? But we don't have any copy for you, right? What do we have? You got something to share your screen with me there, Calvin, Carson, Calvin?
I can type in the Coors Light thing I had so you can try it with this real quick.
Yeah, 16-year-old Josephine doing the Coors Light commercial.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, especially because Josephine herself, if you listen to the rest of the interview, she talks about how she's got these very, very protective brothers. They're very, very strict. And so I can't imagine that her brothers would allow her to drink a Coors Light as opposed, or even,
So it's till, not oil, Jamie, just so you know.
That's right.
What's that?
In the chat, if you look in the chat, I put that Coors Light copy in there. It's till, not oil, but it's all there. If you want to try reading with that accent real quick.
With Josephine DeFuccia?
Yeah, Josephine DeFuccia and her Coors Light.
Once you're on the floor, don't stop till you're on the ceiling. Coors Light, whatever your mountain, climb on.
Very, very nice. Now, I wanted to just point out one thing that you would learn from going through that springboard. When she said Arthur Avenue, she says Arthur, and then she puts this very consonant R before the next vowel on Ravenue, right?
Yeah.
Because it's an R dropping, it's called non-rhotic. It's an R dropping dialect. So she'd say Arthur if that was the end of the sentence, but because there's another vowel starting the next word, she's got to put that linking R in. And sometimes you'll notice they do that randomly, like in between two vowels, they'll add an R that's not even there, like in China or in Japan, or
China,
or Eliza and me, right? So once you're on the floor, don't stop till you're on the ceiling. You're Ron. It's the same as Arthur Ravenue.
Okay.
So till you're on the ceiling.
Till you're on. Is it more like Ron?
It's like if you put the R, this is the half-assed respelling. If you put the R before the O-N, like to do Ron,
yeah,
and you pronounce it non-rhotic, like you're,
yeah,
till you're on the ceiling.
Till you're on the ceiling.
That's it.
Man, that's tough.
Nice.
Right, but it's those subtle little intricacies that
Sure.
nail the dialect for you.
Yeah.
Right? And those are the things that give us away when we're sort of trying a dialect and then there's something that's slightly off. I can't stop talking like Josephine DeFuccia.
I love it. It sounds so natural on you, Eliza.
Well, I do this. I live and breathe this stuff. And, you notice many of my students, I want Sloan to do one of her springboards. Come on, show off. I know she can unmute herself. She hasn't been in class for a couple of months. I'm totally calling her out right now.
Yeah, I've had some unfortunate circumstances.
A series of unfortunate events.
Yeah, we had a flood.
Right?
Big flood and then surgeries. Not mine, but family members. So.
Aww.
I know. So I don't know what springboard you want me to do. I'm reading a script actually that is a Jewish script right now.
Do it. Didn't you do Ida? I live down Lower East Side, born and bred. My children are grown. They also live on the East Side. I seem to remember you doing Ida, and that's sort of like your mother.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen the Ida script. I know the reason why I became in your classes because I saw you doing Ida. I was like, oh my God, she sounds just like my mom from the Bronx. So, but yeah, my mother's from the Bronx. She's from 40. I don't know what street she's from, but she used to go out to Long Island a lot, and so she has like a completely different accent than anyone else I've ever heard because she goes.
She's got an idiolect. Her very own idiolect.
Yes, she calls it, instead of buffet, it's buffet, and yeah, everything's got like 5 different syllables in it. So yeah, I don't know if I'm the best person.
Read a little bit of your copy in that. Read a little bit of your copy in that.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Yeah.
I see the magic at work.
All right, Dolly. Half Torah is a special section of the Torah that's read during the Saturday and Shabbat service. So, Moshe, can you chant that day's Half Torah as part of his bar mitzvah ceremony?
Perfect copy for that accent.
Perfect. Shabbat shalom.
Good Yom Tov. I hope everyone's having a good Sukkot. Who might be Jewish.
I've got to head out now, Eliza. That was a great thing. I'm going to pass it back to Randy. Last question. Being from Seattle, how did we end up with the likes of Washington? Why do people say Washington?
That intrusive R, man. It's just like China and Japan. I don't know. Sometimes it shows up in unlikely places.
I've had countless teachers, people I meet, Washington. We put something in the Warsh. What? They're not even like heavily dialected other than like they're just.
I know. Yeah, those same people will also say crick instead of creek.
Yeah, that's
actually that sound came across the Oregon Trail. So that's why it seems random as to who does it, because there are people like in the mid-East Coast that do that, and there are people in Oregon that do that.
Weird. Okay, that's good to know. This was hugely constructive. I hope you guys had as much fun as I did. I'm going to toss it back to Randy, and I will see.
Just for you guys who want more of this, the free webinar, I just put it in the chat again, and it's currently running this week. It will not cost you a thing. Just find yourself 90 minutes of time, and you can ask me questions live at the end. We're running it. I'm not sure how many more weeks we're going to be running it. So,
yep, I'm going to check that out for sure because this was a lot of fun. So thank you, Eliza, for being here. And I'll see you all at VOMastery. Nicely done, guys. I'll see you later.
VOMastery.
Hello, hello, hello. See, I knew you were in much better hands with a guy that would actually try to do accents and has some sort of affiliation and affinity for them. I have none. all I can do is I coffee talk. That's about it. I can coffee talk.
But you guys, I wanted to address something in the chat here from Stephanie Sutherland. My grandma said crick instead of creek. And also I grew up in a city called Spanish Fork that she called it Spanish Fark. That is one of my favorite things. I have all these little phonemes that I adore, but, you know, other people have, you know, people that they like. This one is really cool because it's one of the biggest mistakes that American actors and British actors make when they're trying to do American Southern, certain New York dialects, Louisiana dialects, and Irish dialects, and it's the OR sound. And it has everything to do with the spelling. So an Irish person who will say the simple OR spelling morning, top of the marnatia, will also say she's in morning. And so Spanish fark, but you're 40 years old, right? Because it's O-U-R. So it's two different ways of pronouncing that. And like in Texas, my grandmother was from part of Texas where she would, when my mother was 44, she'd say she was farty-four. She's farty-four. Because it's that, and like, for example, like, we lived near the border, but my mother had a border, right? And the same is true with the Southern dialect, right? So she lived near the border, but we had a border, right? Or that's pretty harsh, but my voice is hoarse, right? So that's one of my favorites. Fark.
You're freaking farking. Okay.
Fark.
Sorry.
Fark is a good name for a daughter. It's my daughter, Fark.
Fark. You know, I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, because I actually, you know, I was very spiritual when I had my daughter. And
not anymore.
No. But wait, no, I actually wanted to call her
Lunchbox.
No. It's you. Oh, Satori. Because when you are at one with yourself and in the moment, you are Satori. And my girlfriend said they will call her clitoris her whole life. You cannot give her the name Satori. So
ironically, like, they do call her clitoris. It's really embarrassing.
We don't know why. It's Rachel, you know. Where did they get that? But I thought that was so funny. But really, I wanted to name my child Satori. And
I wanted to name my son Sequoia after Chief Sequoia, who developed the language, the first written language of Cherokee. But I also liked it because it has all the vowels.
Yeah.
But the way Chief Sequoia spelled his name was S-I-Q-Q. S-I-Q-Q-U-O-Y-A-H.
Yeah.
And that's just not going to work.
Right. That's so funny. Well, you know, it's totally phonetic, of course. I am hooked on phonics for many years. Oh, yeah. So Eliza Jane Schneider, for those of you that are sitting on the fence as to whether you want to come and do a master class at VOMastery, how do you say no to someone who literally, she has the passport for you to sound like you're around the world. You can be all and be the end all to accents once you've studied with her. I know better than to even try. So, but
say that, but then they surprise themselves, Randy. You might surprise yourself.
Well, I might pop in on your masterclass just so I can see if I can learn something new.
Well, and I just want to say that now that the strike is over,
yeah,
video games have always been one of the best ways to get your foot in the door. And there's so much work right now, so much work.
It's true.
They're the ones that really care about the authentic dialects. That's my bread and butter. That's every day they send me 3 or 4 different dialect auditions.
Love it. Love it. And, SAG-AFTRA will have a table at VOMastery because I'm one of the, I'm not a founder, but I'm on the advisory board for the Don LaFontaine Voiceover Lab in Los Angeles. And I wanted to give Eric Shuford a table for him to let people ask about the Don LaFontaine Lab. It's a state-of-the-art studio in Los Angeles located at SAG Foundation at SAG-AFTRA on Wilshire. And it's an incredible space. Have you been to the lab?
I have not been there yet.
Well, I'm going to teach there soon. You'll have
I'll
to go.
when you go.
You'll definitely.
Plus Eric's a hottie, just in case that helps.
Eric is gorgeous. He's like, I don't know if he's vegan or just vegetarian, but the guy works out. He is gorgeous, and he spells his name A-R-I-C or A-R-I-C-K.
And he looks like he's 17, but he's like 50 or something.
I don't know if I'm going to give him that many years, but he's gorgeous, and he does a hell of a job running the lab. So they will have presence at VOMastery. I want to thank you all. Hi, Jean-Francois. Your baby should be in bed soon. Did they already have their baths? Did they have a bath? Yay! It's bath time, bedtime. I'm sure he's going to read stories to his kids in all those voices. Are they twins, Jean-Francois? Oh my God, yeah. They're gorgeous.
Cute attack.
Beautiful. Yeah, cuteness attack for sure. Well, thank you. We went way over because Eliza was generous enough to.
You're going to mention something.
Yeah, well, is Natasha Marshuka still on here? Beautiful blog from her today that you shared.
Yeah, well, actually, I wrote it.
I mean, you wrote it. She shared it.
She shared it, yeah.
But
yeah,
and you
at her request.
I was actually a little surprised that I saw you wrote a blog. I mean, I know Jack is an actor and bon vivant, but I didn't know that you were that heavy. What did you write about? You want to share that?
It's kind of like how voice education, as great as coaches are, how necessary they are. It also extends to just being receptive and open to what's out there and listening. So, all of us are actors, all of us are voice people. Check it out. It may be worth your time. And if you like it, let me know what you think.
Great.
I'd appreciate your input.
Jack, now a writer. So he's really the,
whatever
does everything, whatever
people are who do everything.
Yeah, he's going to start doing live shows. He's going to want to do my shows. I know it. I can feel it coming. So, Eliza, thank you. We look forward to seeing you at VOMastery soon. We will. How do folks find you if they don't already know you, Eliza? What's the best way to reach?
Well, I put the free webinar thing. I'll put it in again. Okay. But dialectmasterclass.com. If you just want to join the class, dialectmasterclass.com. And also right now my team is running an Indiegogo campaign that just went in demand status. It's called The Woman of 1,000 Voices. And it's really about going out and recording 7,000 people and the stories that came of that and the voices that are sort of clamoring to be heard. It's a great project. So if you want to check me out there, you can. Great. And I'm Eliza Jane 2020 on just about everything: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Can you give me like 45 seconds to call out one of my students and see if you
Sure.
Okay, Victor, unmute yourself. I want to hear 4 of your springboards in rapid succession.
All right. So many lies are told by Hollywood about gay people. So what they see in the films. That was Irish, in case you couldn't.
That was Belfast. That was upper class Belfast professor.
I did a Cajun accent last go around. Okay, me and my cousin was going to the camp, and we hit a log, and the motor flew off. The motor flew off.
The motor flew off.
We offered everyone to be an extra in the movie. He refused to be it. I saw him for the first time like 15 minutes before the boxing match. Insane German film director Uwe Ball. You want one more? Oh, my New York guy. I didn't get to do this for you last class because I forgot about him, but I did do a New York. You want to know how long I lived here? I'm not going to tell you. I was born here. It's over 60 years.
Am I wrong in saying his New York was the least believable?
Oh well, it's because of the one phoneme. Forgot. He missed that one thing. But I did just throw it at him.
Because you forgot.
He forgot that forgot is forgotten, not forgot.
Forgot is forgotten. Yeah, I can forget.
It's been, I've been in Eliza's class 2 times. That was an old one.
That's a tricky one though, Randy, because that's one of the ones, it's like, you know, it's some things that you would think like, oh my God, it's not God, it's God, right? Right? But it's dog. So, you know, it's one of that, they call it the COT merger, COT/CAUGHT, and it's one of the most difficult things to nail in British and in the non-rhotic American dialects. But yeah.
It's amazing. Your brain astounds me. I'm sorry. That's all I can say. All right. So you guys, we went really late tonight. Fantastic job. Thank you, Victor. Thank you to everyone who joined in on the Zoom, and Eliza, for your time. You're so generous. And we'll see you at VOMastery in a couple of weeks.
Definitely.
All the classes, we just want all these master classes to be sold out. I think we are very close to selling out. So I know that Show Vita will follow up with the emails from tonight's attendees. And next week, we're going to give away a ticket for VOMastery. So make sure that you show up in the Zoom. And what else?
Thanks,
that was
Bobby
great.
Sheldon.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Londa. Wish you were in LA. But we wish you were here too.
Back at you, Jack.
All right. Love you guys. We'll see you next Wednesday live from Media City Sound. Until then, break a lip.
Bye.
Bye,
Thank
you
you,
guys.
Randy.
Thank
That was
you.
really
Thank
good.
you to everyone. Kathleen, Ronald, Carson, Beck. Thank you.
Start clearing. Get on it. Get on it. There's
Get
a
rid of stuff.
drawer.
Get
There's
rid
a
of stuff
refrigerator,
now.
There's a file system.
Why is there still stuff in
Let it
your
go.
room? Get
Let it
rid of
go.
it.
Let it go.
Bye, guys.
Good night, all.
Good night.